People ask me how this whole Grandma's House of Hope thing got started. And really it started after I was abandoned by a domestic violence partner in Anaheim with my 5-year-old son. He literally left us on the corner of Catella and Harbor with 2 suitcases and $20. And there was a journey involved that a lot of people got involved, pulling me back from that homeless place I was in and getting back on my feet. And after I got back on my feet and was in a healthy relationship, I got involved in a church, and God really started to speak to my heart about how I needed to forgive those that I was holding accountable for my own pain. And one of the folks that was really on my heart was my mom. My mom had turned her back on me when I was homeless. So I started on a journey to find my mom. And by the time I found her, she was quite ill. She had succumbed to early onset Alzheimer's disease, and she was in a skilled nursing facility all the way out in Simi Valley. And literally when we walked into that nursing home the first time, my mom was curled up in a fetal position at 62 years old, eating out of a G-tube coming out of her stomach. And I remember going home that night to my saint of a husband who was involved in my personal rescue and asking him, "Pat, can I bring my mom home and take care of her?" And he didn't even blink an eye. He said, "Absolutely, Janae, bring her home." So within 6 weeks, we had my mom home living with us. And 6 weeks after that, it was Thanksgiving. And my mom was sitting at the dining room table eating a full-on Thanksgiving meal with us with no assistance. I mean, it was a miracle. So after my mom passed away, there was a lady that used to sit at the bus stop near our home. So we brought Harriet into our home, and she lived with us for about 6 months before we were able to find her an apartment that she could afford. And then it was the next person who came into our home, and the next person who came into our home. And one day I looked around and there were more people living with us than in this nucleus of our own family. So we sort of looked at each other, Pat and I, and said, well, let's get out of the way. You know, so our family moved out of that home, and we gave that first house over into helping the community of the homeless. So that was our very first home. And then in 2009, we had the opportunity to open up a second home. And that one actually involved 2 houses and 3 apartments that came on one property. So we were able to expand to 26 more beds. After campus happened, another house on the same street that we used to live on came available. And so we named that house after my mom. We had a Dorothy house. After that, there was an Angel Haven. After that, there was our beautiful big new emergency shelter called Hope Harbor. And after that, we opened up a grandpa's house. So one by one, we just kept growing each and every year. And from 2007 to 2017, we went from 10 beds to 120 beds serving the homeless. Another one of our programs that's super important to me is Nana's Kids, because I remember what it was like to be a single mom renting a motel room for the night and not having enough money left over to pay for a meal for my son. And so just out of a family project, we started to pack 10 bags of food once a week as a family and take it to a nearby motel for the kids that live there. And that program became one of our offshoots for Grandma's House of Hope when we became a nonprofit. And since 2017, we have served over 2 million meals to children living in motels who otherwise would not eat over the weekends and during the summer months when the school cafeteria is closed. Our HopeWorks Education and Enrichment Center is on site at a very low-income Section 8 housing complex where we serve 45 families with over 90 children with after-school support, homework club, adult education, early childhood development, and health and wellness classes. We are super proud that 16 of our residents there are continuing their education in college and university, and also that we have provided a neighborhood environment. There are absolutely no gang members or gang affiliations on this property. I felt a real calling to the homeless community. I realized how vulnerable women on their own were when they were on the street. Because women with kids and families seem to get into other programs. You didn't see a lot of mothers with children on the street, but the single women out there, their only answer to their future would be to attach themselves to a man who was awful to her, who made her go out and do things for him so that he didn't have to do anything to support himself. So as our mission evolved, it went from helping the vulnerable and the underserved to truly helping those that couldn't get into other programs. The stories that I heard where people said, I'm so complicated, I don't feel like anybody's willing to listen to my whole story. And because of that, these women were being turned away by programs because they just were like too broken. But at Grandma's House of Hope, we really believe in taking those stories apart. So we take more time with the ladies that we serve. We do it deliberately, and we believe in not giving up on anybody at Grandma's House of Hope. And each and every one of the beautiful people that have walked through our door has been its own special, significant story. Everybody that's come through that door has felt love and compassion and hope and healing. And I just can't wait to see what the future brings Grandma's House of Hope in the next decade.